Hey y'all, Chef IrixGuy here, and today I'm going to make pulled pork chili with basic ingredients. So I've got some chili seasoning mix. You can probably find this at your grocery store, but I've also linked it within this video's description. I've got some dark red kidney beans that have been drained, and then I've got diced tomatoes. So what we're going to do with this, oh, and then obviously I've got the pulled pork that I smoked for over 24 hours. So it's smoked, and then I pulled it, and then I've got a chopped onion, and I got several chopped garlic cloves. So basically all we're going to do, man, is just dump all this in this pot here. A little bit different than a traditional chili that uses ground chuck or ground beef. We're just going to put all this in the pot here. And we're going to put the kidney beans in. Now some people like a thicker chili. I like my chili a little bit runnier consistency. So with that being the case, I'm going to get a can of water, see what that looks like, and then I may add a little bit more. You don't want to put too much because you don't want to dilute the seasoning, but typically what I like is about 2 of these cans of water. We put that in there. And then we're going to get our seasoning mix. Nothing fancy, just off-the-shelf seasoning mix. Again, I've linked it within this video's description. So we're going to dump that in there. Just keep everything simple here. Now we're going to turn on our stove. We're going to put this over here because we're going to bring it to a boil while we stir it. So we're basically going to bring it to a boil and then reduce the temp and let it simmer. The instructions say about 10 minutes to simmer, but honestly, man, I'm going to bring it to a boil. And then I'm going to let it simmer for quite a bit longer than that. Because think about it, while it's simmering, it's really soaking up those flavors. I mean, in this chili, instead of beef, as I mentioned, we've got pulled pork. So we're going to have the hickory flavor from the pulled pork, the hickory smoke flavor. We want all these flavors to blend. Now, it's important when you put all this in here that you stir it thoroughly, because you definitely want all the seasonings to properly distribute. Now, one thing I'm going to do, because I like really spicy stuff, well, not super spicy, but to some people this may be, it's just cayenne pepper. So I'm going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper to this. And then, of course, stir it in. And I'm also going to add a little bit of fresh ground black pepper. I'm not going to add any salt because obviously this already has a lot of sodium, and in the smoked Boston butt that I have in here, also known as a pork shoulder or pork butt, obviously smoked barbecue, part of the preparation is a heavy barbecue salt component. So not going to add any additional salt. We don't need it. Man, it smells so good. I can smell from the pork in here, I can smell the hickory smoke. That was a 24-hour process smoking that butt. And you can check out my other video where I demonstrate step by step how to smoke a perfect pork butt. But this is just a good thing to do, because when you smoke a pork butt, even after a bunch of people eat it, there's still, I mean, a pork butt's so big that there's a ton of leftovers, and this is a great way to utilize those pulled pork leftovers and create something different than a sandwich or just pulled pork on a plate with some homemade barbecue sauce on it. So just a rare opportunity. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to make pulled pork chili and do it quickly. No, you've already got to have the pork smoked, and that's typically about a 24-hour process. So, as easy as this looks for this preparation, you've got to remember that I devoted 24 hours, actually about 26 hours, to smoking the butt that's the primary ingredient of this pulled pork chili. So, you can get fancy with this. My purpose for this video was to illustrate how you can get something simple off the shelf that's got that I feel has a good flavor profile to it. Dress it up with some fresh garlic, fresh onion, maybe add a little bit of cayenne and or other spice that you choose, or just use the packet and don't put anything else in it. I mean, that's completely up to you. But I wanted to keep this preparation really simple so that you're probably like me, you probably smoke pork butts. You're like, man, what am I going to do with all that excess? We've all eaten it. And I mean, granted, I could eat pork for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but not everybody is that mentally conditioned. So being able to take that pulled pork and add a little bit of variety by making a pulled pork chili like this is great. But see, this is going to come to, we want it to come to a boil, and then after it comes to a boil, we're going to cover it, reduce the temperature, and just let it simmer for, it says 10 minutes. I'm going to let it simmer, honestly, for about a half hour or so, maybe even an hour. Because I really want the, well, I like my onion that I put in here, I like it to be kind of softened up. Typically what I'll do when I make a traditional ground chuck based chili, I'll cook the garlic and the onion in with my ground beef or my ground chuck before I drain it and put it in with the chili. So in that scenario, the onions and the garlic are already the consistency that I like. But since I didn't pre-cook the onion or the garlic today, that's why that extra simmer duration is important. And also, the act of it simmering will better flavor everything that's already phenomenally flavored. I mean, the pulled pork is, I mean, I made it, I can say it. I mean, it was, as far as flavor, 10 out of 10. Moisture, 10 out of 10. It was not dried out at all. I smoked this pork butt to 201 degrees on the dot, internal temperature. That's, in my opinion, that's the optimal internal temperature for a pork butt that's ready to take off and rest. I let it rest for about an hour and then pulled it. Man, that pork butt's so good. And I can smell, like I said, while I'm preparing this chili, I can smell the hickory smoke from the pork butt. That's how well penetrated the pork butt was with hickory. You can't beat hickory smoke flavor. You really can't. So this is going to be a very delicious chili. Again, something different than your ground chuck or ground beef based chili, or even a chicken chili. And the fact that the pork butt is hickory smoked, it adds that extra flavor profile to it. So, I could toss some potatoes in here too if I wanted to. If I'd cooked a potato, chopped it up, put it in here, that's kind of, if you want to make it a little bit, even more filling. my goal is just to have, you know, I like to meal prep, so I've got a few bowls of chili here, so I can eat, you know, breakfast and lunch, whatever, and have a very satisfying meal. But this is about to come to a boil, and when it does, like I said, we'll reduce the temperature to a simmer, and I'm going to let it simmer probably for about a half hour or an hour. But per the directions, you know, it only needs to simmer, I think they said 10 minutes, and I'm not going to do that, because I want it to, like I said, I want it to better blend the flavors. And see, I've been stirring it this entire time, and this is important because I've distributed all the seasonings. And you want to, look at that, oh man, that is going to be good. Super good. It's about to boil. Okay, now it's coming to a boil, so I'm going to reduce. And then I'm going to cover it. To get my cover. And we're just going to let it simmer. So that is how I make pulled pork chili. But again, as a reminder, this looks very quick and easy. That was about a 26-hour process to smoke that pork butt. So this is dependent upon having pulled pork ready. If you wanted to, you could go to a local barbecue joint and buy pulled pork and not cook it yourself. But cook it yourself, man. It's so much better. Tell me what you think, and be sure to subscribe. And again, I linked all of the seasonings like I used. You can probably find them at a grocery store, but you can expand this video's description and click the link there to find them as well. And appreciate your viewership. Subscribe and check out all of Chef IrixGuy's videos. Y'all have a good day. So this right here is the finished product, and it's delicious. I'm going to show you a close-up. Look at that. You see all the pulled pork. You see the kidney beans, the tomatoes. It is fantastic. And the aroma of this is exceptional because you can smell the hickory. You smell the traditional chili smell, but you've got something that's exceptional because you've got slow smoked over hickory pork in a chili. Now you can add cheese, you could add some crackers, you know, saltines, whatever you want to, completely optional. I'm gonna add cheese and saltines just because I like that. Subscribe and ring that bell and check out all of Chef IrixGuy's cooking videos. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.